Hey, did you hit record?
Yeah, that's okay. I'll fix it later. It was like, oh, he's off on one. Okay. I spelled it wrong. That's all right. When you guys see it, don't be like, oh, he can't spell. No. Yeah, here you go. All right. Let's see. All right, everyone. So this week our Torah portion is called Wa'et Kanan. Wa'et Kanan. And part of that in particular word, let me let Fanta in right quick. Yeah. That word, etanon, has to deal with a plea, making a plea to the creator. Moshe is letting us know that that's what he did when he found himself, at his end. There comes a time when, he knew his life was going to be over and ended. And in his attempt to go into the land of Israel, he made a plea. He asked Yah to hear him. And he's asking Yah for that word pleaded there is really what one would call for Yah to be gracious and to be merciful. This pen will work. I'll have to use my finger then. Okay, guess what? This word right here in the Hebrew is called Canaan. And come on, dang, what you write? I'll write with my finger. It's called Canaan, C-H-A-Nan. L-N-A-N. Canaan, okay? And what that means is to be gracious. And he was asking the creator to be gracious to him. And because Yah is full of grace and he's full of truth and he's full of mercy and he's full of compassion. And so he said, he asked him, he said, Master of Masters Elohim, Yahweh, you have begun to reveal your greatness to your servant and your strong hand for what other Elohim is there in heaven and on earth that can do the works and mighty deeds that you do. Please let me go across and see the good land on the other side of the Jordan, that wonderful hill country and the Lebanon. That's what I want to see. But Yahweh was angry with me on the account of you. And he didn't listen to me. Yah didn't listen to me. Yahweh said to me, enough from you. Don't say another word to me about this davarim, this thing, this matter. Where I told you the davarim or davar is not only a word, but it could be a thing. And often we express how we feel through our words. And so we can pick up a couple of things here that Yah wants to tell us. If Yah says something and he raises his hand or he swears something, he's not going to change his mind. He doesn't arbitrarily say something and all of a sudden I'm not going to do it. If he tells you that you're not entering the land, you're not going into the land. I don't care how much you talk to me about it. So we see here that Moshe was always asking Yah to, reverse or make some kind of concession for him. And so in Yah's mercy, we're going to read in verse number 27, he tells him to go to the top of this mountain and to look to the west, the north, the south, and east with your eyes, but you will not cross over to this Jordan, meaning you're not physically going to go there. But what I will let you do is I will let you see it. I'll let you see it from that distance. And then he tells him, however, I need you to commission Yehoshua and encourage him and strengthen him, for he would lead this people across the Jordan and enable them to inherit the land that you see. And so we stayed in the valley of Beth Peor. Now he's talking to the children of Israel, like I said, on one day. This is the same day. that he's going to give them all the Torah. He's going to talk to them in this one day, because Yah told him that, it's time for you to go. What I find interesting here is that Yah did in his own way show him Canaan. He let him see it, but he only let him see it from a distance. Okay. He didn't, if Yah can work out a detail about, like I prayed, I said, Yah, we're stuck in this captivity, and we have a certain amount of time to do, but there's any way that you can speed up the days. And it seems like the days are flying. And of course, I let you guys know about that report. They said the earth is spinning faster. So it's really not even a 24-hour day anymore. It's like 23 hours and some seconds. So it's happening. They're going faster. What can we understand about the Creator in knowing this? We're supposed to take something from this. Often we will make a plea before Yahweh and we'll bring our concerns to him, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that he's going to say yes. It doesn't mean that. Okay. And that's hard, and that's difficult for us to understand. But he has his reasons, and he told him no. He said, don't talk to me about it anymore. And it's like a father, a child keep talking, can I go outside, please? You change your mind? He said no. So think about this before we move on to the chapter number 4. After all that time of 40 years in the wilderness and dealing with all the different things that he dealt with, Moshe I'm talking about, and all his problems and the arguing and the fighting and the complaining and that the children of Israel did, this was his end. His end was, no, enough from you. You don't say another word to me about it. And often we would think that that's Yah being unfair to him. When you read, if you've been reading a Torah portion, it sounds like Moshe had turned around and blamed them for the situation. He said, because of you. He says, he was angry with me in verse number 26 on the account of you. And the Hebrew says, because of the hadavarim, meaning the things, the matters of you. It says in Psalms that they made Moshe so upset that he forgot and spoke before thinking. But again, we have to be careful. Yah will, he's going to keep his word. He's definitely going to keep his word, which brings us into chapter number 4. All right. Chapter number 4 is one of the best chapters in the world. If you would read chapter number 4 of the book of Deuteronomy, which is called Davarim, you would understand that there really is no excuse for anybody to not want to follow after the Creator. There's none whatsoever. If somebody is not going to follow him and they're going to remain a Christian or a Buddhist or a Muslim after they read this chapter, it means that they have made up their mind, and there's nothing that you can do about it. There's nothing that you and I can say to anybody outside of what the Creator has said in order to change their mind. I want you to listen very, very carefully. Okay. And we're only going to hit just a couple of verses tonight because it's so rich. Okay. Moshe begins by saying, right now, at this in particular time, Yisrael, I need you to listen. I need you to shema to the kukim and the mishpatim. Okay. The kukim and the mishpatim. The kukim right here, kukim is the laws, and the mishpatim are the rulings that I'm teaching you. Okay. I'm lamadanu. I'm going to teach this you in order to follow them. That's why I'm teaching them to you, so that you will live. And then you will go in and take possession of that land, which Yahweh your Elohim of your fathers is giving you currently. Okay. So if you and I want to deny the laws, which are the kukim and the mishpatim that Moshe taught, then you're not going to live. That's just simple. This is not a religious service. This is not your desire to get closer to the Creator through some other means besides actually doing what he asked you to do. He says, here's the thing. In order to obey the commandments, okay, which is the mitzvah, in order to obey them of your Yahweh, your Elohim, which I'm giving you, you do not add to what I'm saying and you do not subtract from what I'm saying, okay? So when I read this, I was like, okay, well, That sounds pretty interesting about just don't add to what I'm saying and don't subtract. What it is, and I'm going to go over to the Hebrew right quick in verse number 2, is that what he's saying is the only way that you and I can literally obey the commandments of Yah, in order to obey them, you and I can never do these two things right here. You can never add, you can never subtract. Okay, so these are the English terms about addition and subtraction. You can never do that. Which you can see in the New Testament, they have added by saying, I know that you've heard that it's been said, but I say unto you. Okay, or they took away, I know you heard that it was an eye for an eye, but I say unto you. And so he's adding, but he's also deducting, making subtractions. Well, that's a very basic way to look at it. But the way that the Creator really wants us to look at it is to look at it from his point of view. In his point of view, it says this. Don't worry if you don't understand Hebrew. I'm going to explain it to you. It's part of your culture. Okay. It says this. This word right here. Let's just deal with this word, lo. You can say that. In Hebrew, it's called lo. And that means never, as long as you live. And it means it's absolute. To never, no time in the future, not after a certain period of time, nothing. But they use this word, you shall add in English. Okay. And that means to add, of course, to add or to make something in addition to. What's interesting here is that they're using this word to, but we know in Hebrew that the word to is a preposition, and it's not this word, all, okay? It's not the ayin and the lamed. It's not that. Who knows what preposition just off the top? Does anybody know which one I'm going to use? Just a different letter. What is it? It's a lamed, but they got another letter in front of it. It's aleph. Okay. So you have to understand that these are two different types of prepositions. To is this one, and I'll explain it to you. This one right here, this aleph here represents what? Somebody tell me, what does that letter mean? Or what does it represent?
Strength.
It means strength. And the next letter is a lamed, which means what?
Authority.
It's authority. Good. So we know this because the strength is represented by an ox. Okay. And we know the authority is represented by a staff. S-T-A-F-F. Okay. I'm writing over all these other letters, but don't worry about it. All right. So we see some similarities between this, the L right here, and this one right here, all. Okay. So they have a staff, but they have a word right here, which is, or letter called ayin. And what's an ayin? Eye. It's your eye. Okay. Very important for us to understand. Well, my screen is freezing. Forgive me. It's an ayin. It means an eye. Okay. E-Y-E. Okay. So it seems that, they're very close. Did the translator make a mistake when they put all here or not? No, I actually believe that they did this on purpose. Okay. This word all right here, this word right here means to, if it's the eye, it has to do, what are you doing with your eye? If it's the eye instead of the strength, you're what?
Witness.
You're witnessing, or you're looking with your eyes to the authority. Okay, so to see the authority. So one is strong authority, right? But this one's to see the authority. Okay. Yah's not saying here in this word all to don't add to it or don't take away from it. He's not saying that. The word all and I'm erasing everything to clear it up for us. The word all, this word right here means, I wish this thing would work. Makes teaching so much difficult. It means to look. To look upon the staff. Okay. To look upon the staff, to look upon. All right. So what the creator is saying to us is not that you shouldn't add to it, like you're just adding and subtraction. Like I'm just gonna put words with it. What Yah is saying, don't lay anything upon my words. He's not saying, so we're going to change this, okay? It's not to. Okay? It's don't add upon. Don't put nothing upon or, okay? This is very dangerous. You say, well, what do you mean this is dangerous? When you look to the staff or you're looking to this authority, and Yah says that you can't put anything upon what I'm saying, not just don't add to it, but don't put nothing upon my words. What that means is this. He's letting us know it's not just what you say that you can put to my words. That's a very generic, elementary way of looking at this. Who are we dealing with? What is the creator like? Somebody tell me. What is the Elohim that you decided to listen to and follow? What is he like?
He's Kodesh.
He's Kodesh. You and I just witnessed in chapter number 3, verse number 22, where the creator said what? Don't talk to me about this matter anymore. Okay. And he said that to a man who's been faithful and the most meek man upon the whole entire earth. Okay. And he's led the children of Israel through the wilderness through some very difficult times. Why I'm mentioning that is simply because Yah is saying, I don't need you to put anything upon my words, not just add your words, but nothing upon my words, which is your emotions. I don't want you to tell how you feel. Because Moshe said what he said because of how he felt. Yah didn't care how he felt. He didn't care about his emotions. So when we look at this and it tells L, or they said, you shall not add to. That means like adding something to it. Yah is saying, don't put anything upon my words. That's including everything about yourself. It's your desire and your wish for you wanting for things to be the way that they are. Instead of you saying that I said it in this way, you're going to say that I said it this way. And what I mean by that is we have several ways that a person can say something. Call, I'm going to give you verb tenses. Simple, you can say in a very simple way. But if Yah didn't say anything in a simple way, he said it in a PL form, okay, Wills is very forceful. And you and I decide that we don't like the forcefulness because it's too rough and it's too hard. So what you and I are going to do is we're going to choose this way of things instead of this way that he said. That's what he's saying. Don't not add to what I said, because you can't add, literally, legitimately. We say, don't put nothing upon my words. Okay? And that has to do with who we are. I don't want to hear about your emotion. If I said what I said, is exactly what I said. Okay? So you shall never do this. Okay? And this word in terms of take away or and subtract, and I'll have it here right quick. So no feelings, no emotion. We see what happened when you get emotions involved. What happened to David when he got emotional? When he got so full of zeal that he said, let's go get the Ark of the Covenant. What had happened to the man who touched the Ark?
He was killed.
He was killed. And because zeal is how you feel. You see? And then David got his feelings hurt and then let the Ark stay with this other guy. Forgot his name. I think it's Orev or something, but he let him stay with him. you know? So you and I have feelings, okay, and emotions that you and I cannot let get involved in our decision-making process. No matter how much you and I would plead to Yah for your family or for yourself, if he has given a judgment about it, that's just the way it is. If he says that I hate these people and they're going to be separated from me for eternity, that's what it is. If he says that if you go against me, that's it. He told Aharon. What did he tell Aharon about when his two sons died? Somebody tell me. What did he tell him? What did he tell Aharon and his other remaining sons? He told them, don't you shed a tear. Don't you start mourning. Don't you grieve. Don't you take off the garments. Don't you tear it. Don't let your hair down. Don't do nothing. What happened with Eli, and his sons? Yah says, because you have chosen your sons and you to discipline them, because what? How he felt. You see? So in our pleading to Yah, we have to understand who our Elohim is. He's not a man. Okay? So Moshe says, listen, the word, the hadavarim, the hadavar asher anoki, that I'm commanding. And listen, right here's a PL, let you know it's in a very forceful way. It's force. It's intense. You can't take away the intensity. You know, before my mother died 3 years ago, she told me I was on her all the time about trying to tell her about this truth and what it was. And one thing that she said to me, and a lot of other people have said it as well, and I hear the same thing over and over again, is you should soften up the message. You need to soften it up because you don't want to offend anybody. You know, and it depends on how you come to a person. If you would have came in a way that it was more, soft and gentle, then maybe someone will listen to you. I hear that all the time. Okay. And I know you've heard the same thing. It's all in the what? It's all in the approach. It's all how you approach someone. Guess what that's doing? That's adding upon Yahweh's words with your feelings. If Yah tells the wicked that they're going to die, and you and I were given that commission to tell the wicked person they're going to die, and you and I turn around and soften the message, then Yahweh says, I will take your life. I know you've heard this before. You can find it in the book of Ezekiel. I'm not going to go there tonight because I have somewhere else that I want to stick right here tonight. Okay. But Moshe is commanding in a very forceful way. Okay. You meaning plural. Okay. So now we know who he's talking to. He's talking to all Yisrael. So when you guys hear me yelling and screaming and going nuts, it's not because I don't like you. It's not because I'm trying to hurt your feelings, or it's not because I'm trying to be some madman. I'm just telling you exactly the way that he said it. When Yah spoke to Yisrael, he spoke to them out of fire. And it was a very loud sound and they couldn't endure it. And you and I have to have that same type of mentality. You got to have that kind of mentality. I'm going to go right here to Isaiah right quick. It just popped in my head. I want to show you something right quick. I don't believe it popped in my head for no reason. It did just pop in my head. What does he say? What did he say? Shout out loud. Don't hold back. Raise your voice like a shofar and proclaim to my people what rebels they are. To the house of Yisrael, the house of Yaakov, their sins. You guys have heard the sound of a shofar. It's one of the most piercing sounds. Did you ever hear? Yes, it's beautiful when you hear it, but like, whoa, what's that sound? But it's piercing. It can literally hurt your ears. They use shofars to call the people together, to make an announcement, to give a warning to the people. Proclaim to my people what rebels they are, to the house of Yaakov. That's all 12 tribes. Their sins. So don't you feel bad when you have to sit and tell somebody that you're a rebel. I've had to tell this to people in my family, and they got offended. They got mad. If I'm hearing what you're saying, that means that I ain't S-H-I-T. I'm wicked. To the E, to the H, to the E, to the double L. I'm wicked. And I said, yes, we are. It's not until you and I accept our rebellion and stop playing games and be straightforward and not being afraid to lose relationships. You see? And willing to, you're not willing to lose anything. You don't want to lose nothing in part of the, being part of this. What I'm recognizing is that Yah says you have to be willing to lose everything if you want to be with me. Okay? You have to be willing to walk away. Look at what verse 2 says. Oh, yes. They seek me day after day and claim to delight in knowing my ways, as if they were upright nation, that they had not abandoned the rulings of the Elohim. They asked me for just rulings and claim, they put that in there because they're trying to bring out the point of it, to take pleasure in closeness to Elohim. Our people are a piece of work. We have mastered the ability to hide and to conceal our true intentions. And we've been able to pull it off. Listen carefully to how we've been able to impress people with our gifts and our talents. We've been able to say things to people to make them really honestly believe that we're the victims and everything. And it's poor me. We haven't done anything. We got people on the streets claiming that you know, the white man has done this and this and this and this and that and that. Yes, he's done those things, but who delivered you and why? Why have we been delivered to this? We've been delivered to this because of our own behavior. When he says not to take from it, they had the word subtract. It's not there. It's not subtract. It's not. It's right here. It's called thigra'u. Okay? And Moshe is letting them know, don't you diminish nothing from what Yah said. Not just the words, but what he said. Don't try to restrain the proper or the appropriate response. Don't try to withdraw something else out of what he said. Let's don't minimize what he said, because that's what the subtraction is. It's the diminishing, to reduce it so it can be more palatable for those who are not accustomed to having forceful, strong words said to them. That is the only way that you and I will be able to not keep, but to guard. This word right here, shamar, guard. And what's interesting, okay, they have the lament on here, which means 2 or 4, but shamar right here means to guard. And it's this verb stem right here is a call infinitive, meaning forever and ever. There is no end and no ending to this guardianship of the commandments. There's no giving up on it, people. You don't get to put down the sword and sit it down and take a break when it comes to guarding what Yahweh has spoken. You and I can't put nothing else in front of him. He means guard it from you, guard it from others, guard it from your family, guard it from an enemy, guard it. And there's the reason why. It's not simply because I've given you just the task to guard it. It's because of what you're guarding. You and I are supposed to guard the words of the living Elohim, who spoke to us out of Mount Sinai from fire, which nobody on the earth has ever heard his voice except for you and I. No other nation has had an experience with our Elohim. They don't even know him. They don't have no intimacy with him. They have never brought an offering to him. He's never spoken his words to them. He's never taken those nations out of another nation by his own strength and his own power. He's never fed anybody else on the face of this earth but us. And because of that, you and I have an obligation to guard what he has said. Moshe said, look, you saw, verse 3, with your own eyes what Yahweh did at Baal Peor. That Yahweh destroyed from among you all the men who follow Baal Peor. That is that festival that you and I, or that feast that they went to, where they were serving other gods, okay? And it was the Feast of Rectums. They were having intercourse with women and probably men as well. And listen, he said, but you who stuck with Yahweh, your Elohim is still alive today. What did Yahweh do to the people that were followed this in particular group right here? What did he say do to them?
Kill them.
I need you to kill every last one of them. I need you to hang them by their throats until the sun goes down. That's what I need you to do. They join themselves with these other people through sex. Listen to me carefully. When the Creator tells Israel not to be intimate with any other person or any other family, the Ka'anani, the Gerashi, none of these people, the Moabi, none of them, the Midiani, none of them. When he's talking about don't give your sons and your daughters to them, he's saying, and once they go into them, once the male goes into the female, he has joined himself to the God of that person. That's how deep this goes. Your children are not supposed to be intimate with nobody else because of who you are. Because if you become intimate with them, because you belong to me, you're making me intimate with them. That's why I told you in the book of Nehemiah to send those people away who you had wives and children with. Get them out of here right now. That's how we get involved with other gods as well. When he talks about those who stuck with Yahweh, those who cling to Yahweh like glue, talking about hold on to him. So we see that Moshe opens up with this plea to Elohim, Yahweh. But now he's pleading with the people. I'm trying to convince you to do the right thing. I'm literally asking you to follow what Yahweh's saying. If you stick with Yahweh, you will remain alive. You stick with him, you'll stay alive. But if you forsake him, Yah will kill you. And there's no other way to soften that up. Look, I taught you past tense perfect, kukim and mishpatim, meaning the decrees and the rulings, how to live, just as Yahweh my Elohim ordered me, so that you can behave accordingly in the land where you're going in order to take possession of it. That's part of the deal. You might ask yourself, why am I learning all these laws and statutes and commandments today? Why am I learning about the mishpatim and the kukim and the moedim? Why are you telling me about the Shabbats and the diet? Why are you telling me that I can't cut my beard off? Why are you telling me that I have to do this? I have to change my attitude and my behavior and my mindset. Because listen, if you and I don't get it together right now, then you will not see the land. This is all preparatory work that we have to do. And we're going to have to get serious about it, because Yah is concerned about the individuals that will go into the land. I asked the Most High, why is it that you had to come and deliver us? Why are you so hard on us? What's the deal? I mean, Abraham walked upon the land, and Yitzchak and Yaakov did. They walked there, and you didn't go and kill everybody for them. Why'd you wait for us? Because Yisrael is a different type than their fathers. Yisrael is a bunch of rebels. I have to destroy nations. I'm willing to show you how much I love you by taking the lives of other people. I'll do that for you. That's how much I love you. I'll just wipe a nation off the face of this earth so I can get you to understand your destiny. I'll move people out of your way so you will know your destiny. And I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to bring you to the land so you can begin to understand your destiny. Moshe had taught them laws and rulings just as Yah had commanded him to, so that you and I and they can behave accordingly in the land where you're going to take possession of it, because you're not going in unless we do what Yahweh says. And that is a prerequisite. Let me show it to you so you won't think that I'm crazy. We'll come back here to chapter 4 in a second. I'm going to take a quick detour and go and see what he told our father, Avraham. Listen what he said to Avraham, our father, in the book of Bereshith, which they call Genesis. And we're going to go in chapter number 18. Listen what he says. Yahweh said, verse number 17, should I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Insomuch as Abraham is sure to become a great and strong nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by him. Should I hide from him what I plan on doing? For I have made myself known to him, so that he would give orders to his children and to his household after him, to keep the way of Yahweh and to do what is right and just, so that Yahweh may bring about for Abraham what he has promised him. Yah is giving us an understanding about why he chose our father. His intention is to make him a great and a strong nation. Out of all the nations of the earth, and all the nations of the earth is going to be blessed by him and his descendants after him. And he's not talking about just by a whole bunch of people. He's talking about what you and I will offer to the people. What makes us great and what makes us strong as a nation is that Yahweh is our Elohim. And the laws and the statutes and the commandments, the kukim and the mishpatim and the moedim are the things that give us our strength and our wisdom and makes us great. This is what you and I walked away from as a nation. Yah's only reason for revealing and making himself known intimately with our Father is so that he would give us orders to keep, to guard, not to keep, to guard the way of Yahweh, to do what is right and to do that which is just, so that Yahweh may bring about what he has promised to our Father. Well, he didn't have the Torah. He didn't have the Kukim. He didn't have any of those things. Akika, what are you talking about? He wasn't at Mount Sinai. So why should we have to, what orders would he give us? It's not the laws that he's going to give us, is it? Well, let me show you something. I'll bring it to you, but I can only bring it to you in its rarest form, which is the Hebrew language. Genesis, Better Shift, chapter number 26 says this, verse number 5. I want you to peep game on this, okay? I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read what he said. And I'm going to read from right to left. I'll start in verse number 3. Yahweh commanded Yitzchak to dwell in the land. And he said, I will be with you. Okay, right here. I will be with you, talking to Yitzchak, and bless you. Okay, for to you and your descendants, I will give, okay, all the lands of these. I'm going to give you all these lands. Okay, and also, and I will confirm. Okay, meaning I'm going to establish my covenant, my oath, my shavua with you, meaning 7, that I swore the nishpati to Abraham, which is your father. That's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the lands that I swore to him. Okay, because my covenant with him was, I'm going to make you a great nation. I'm going to give you all these lands. And your father said, well, what good is it to me that I would have all these lands and all this, but yet I don't have any descendants? So Yah has blessed Abraham and his wife, and that's how you and I got here. Verse number 4. So we see here is I will confirm the oath that I swore. I will multiply your descendants as the stars in the sky. He's reaffirming what he told his father. And I will give with Nathati to your descendants, the people that are on Zoom, all the lands of these. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to bless, will be your seed in all the nations of the earth. So some of us, this is not a big deal. It's just another Bible story. Why? Why would Yah do this? It's right here. He uses the word akev, because. But if you know your Hebrew, and it's a yod, an ayin, a kaf, and a bet. Tell me whose name this is.
Yaakov.
That's Yaakov. As I've been telling us, that our name means because of Yaakov. On the heel of something. Why? Your father Abraham obeyed perfectly. He wasn't contemplating when I told him to do anything. He did exactly what I told him to do. But what did he obey? Oh, he obeyed my bakole, my voice. And he guarded Shamar right here again. Why Yishmor, that Yod right means he. He guarded my mishmarti, the thing that I told him to guard, which was my commandments, my kukothai, and my Torah thigh. Moshe had the Torah. Abraham had the Torah. He had the kukim. He had the commandments. He had the mitzvot. Don't you dare let nobody tell you, and he did the mishmareth. Don't you tell me that he didn't have it. Yah is continuing the relationship that he has with our fathers. But there's something different about the descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They're different from their fathers. It's remarkable how different we are. Because those men trusted Yah. And because he done those things, it's because he obeyed what I told him. That's the reason why he's receiving the land that I told you that I'm going to give you. The reason why I'm going to bless his descendants is because he did what I told him. So you and I cannot inherit a promise that was made to our father, and you and I are contrary to what was said. If our father followed it, surely you and I should follow it. I hope this makes sense. In the last few moments of the study today, this evening, I want you to know something before you leave. I want you to sleep on this, and I want you to think about it, and I want you to take it to heart. Verse number 6 is mind-blowing. This is one of the most mind-blowing things that I understand now because I read the Torah portions. Verse number 6, therefore, because I just told you that I taught you these kukim and mishpatim, that you shall follow them, you shall observe them and guard them, for then all the peoples will see you as having wisdom, understanding, if you will follow and observe them, the kukim and the mishpatim and the Torah. That's your wisdom. That's your understanding. When they hear all this kukim, it's not Torah. Right here, it's the kukim. When they hear this, they will say, this great nation is surely a wise and understanding people. I read that so many times before, and I thought, well, that's what they would say, until I read the Hebrew. Let me read it to you in the Hebrew to show you there's one word that they're saying that I want you to know that this is not true. You're using a word here in English called surely, a wise and understanding people. This great nation is surely a wise and understanding people. That sounds very elementary and very basic, and it sounds great, but that's not what the Hebrew says. The Hebrew doesn't say that. This is one of the things that you're going to have to get your act together, and you have to accept this tonight. And I don't care if you get mad, because here's what it says. He says, Ushamartem. That means that you are not, that means you are to guard, to la'asot them, to do, okay? Not to observe, to do this. Because this is your kukim. This is your wisdom. This is your understanding in the sight, in the eyes of all the peoples who will yishmeun, who will hear all the kukim. That's what they're going to hear. That's what they're supposed to be hearing. The kukim. They haven't heard it. The ha'ele. And why amuru? And they will say, what are they going to say to us? Oh, English, surely. Got bad news, folks. This word right here, rock, doesn't mean that. It means only. The only people on the face of the earth who are wise and understanding is the children of Yisrael. That's what you and I need to understand. We're the only people who Yah has ever spoken to. You're the only people who've ever seen the fire of Elohim. You're the only people who has this hakukim in Mishpatim. It's beyond human comprehension. This is not normal. This is not regular. This is not religious. I was talking to my daughter tonight about Lion King. When he was with Pumbaa and Timon, you know, the wild boar and the other little guy, I don't know what, Merit or whatever creature he was. And he was around Akuma Matata. Everything is going well. Everything is great. He's eating grubs and everything. Having the time of his life. And yet, he forgot who he is. He didn't want to be king. He was afraid of the responsibility and what he was going to be faced with. And yet his father came to him and told him, remember who you are. That's what our Father has said. Remember who you are. You will only remember who you are when you go to the Torah. You and I are the only wise and understanding people on the face of the earth. Because of what you and I have done and our ancestors, no one has yet been able to say that about us. Well, you say, well, they said it, Shlomo, Queen Sheba came and said it. That's only one individual. We have been stopping progress. That's what you and I have been doing. That's what our ancestors have done. We squandered away all the wealth of our fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. We've had our kingdom taken away from us and destroyed because we don't want to tell anybody what it is. We still want to play games with the Creator and act as if he owes us something. We still don't want to read and study as he's asked us to, so you and I can learn how to say, Howoshienu, Elohe Yeshenu. We don't want to do that. All of us. We got some of us doing it, but all of us need to do it. We all need to come together collectively and be crying out to our King and telling him to forgive us and to save us and to take us back, so we can praise him and live out the lives that we're supposed to and fulfill our destiny to be the wise and the understanding people among the nations, so they could be blessed, so things would go well with them too. There was this African on TikTok. He said, you black people are some of the most arrogant people I know. Some of the most egotistical people I know. He said, do you not know that the black African nations are waiting for you to stand up to what you need to, because you're the gods on the face of this earth? You guys are the gods, and we're waiting for you. You won't answer your call. We won't humble down and say what Yahweh says. You are the only wise and understanding people on the face of the earth. And that's because of Yahweh. That's because of his mercy and his compassion. In spite of what things may look like for us right now as a collective, as a people, We need to be thankful for what Yahweh has done. He wants to restore us, and it's starting right now. It's not magic. It's not Disneyland where all of a sudden we're magically going to go back to the land. No, it's a process of change. In any relationship that goes bad, things go bad, you just don't all of a sudden get back together. You work things back out together. You have discussions and time to talk about things, settle things out. Start, moving things. And acknowledge where you went wrong. We are the wisest people on the face of this earth. And that's because of the Kukim. And the Kukim are the things that Yah has told us that I'm going to establish as decrees for you. Because I made you, you're a separate people. You're not like everybody else. You're not one of the nations. You are supposed to be alone. And if that means to be alone in thought and ideas and whatever it may take, then be alone. Because I'm your Elohim. Any contributions, remarks? We're going to go deep. And we're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Because we have to. We cannot continue down the road that we were on. Yah is checking us and letting us know by what happened to our ancestors. We lived through our ancestors. You understand? So we have to get this right. We've accepted everybody else's words. Now it's time for us to accept the words of the living Elohim. So read that again and understand. We have a destiny to fulfill, people. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the mighty Yahweh.
Praise the Almighty Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. Hallelujah. All right, everyone. I'll see you on Yom Kamishi. Shalom. Lila Tov.
Lala